Hello class, I'm Samantha Young, and I want to talk to you today about the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. Have any of you heard about the pipeline? Maybe you've seen it on TV, or maybe even in person. I have a trip planned to see the source of it this summer. It should be a fun trip, a lot of scenery along the way. The Trans-Alaska Pipeline starts in Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. That's all the way to the tip top of the state. I have a map here that will show you right here. The pipeline is 800 miles long from there in Prudhoe Bay all the way to Valdez, Alaska, which is pretty much at the bottom of the state, as you can see on my map. I also have a picture of the pipeline after it was finished construction. The pipeline pumps a little over 550,000 barrels of oil per day and has produced 16 billion barrels since 2010 with no mishaps. Let me first give you a bit of history of the pipeline. In 1967, a company called Atlantic Richfield began survey work in the Prudhoe Bay area. By the next year, reports started circulating that natural gas had been discovered. In March 1968, the Atlantic Richfield company hit gold, so to speak. This discovery well began flowing 1,152 barrels of oil per day. In June, they announced a second well that was producing at the same rate. Together, the two wells confirmed the existence of the Prudhoe Bay oil field. They discovered that the new field contained more than 25 billion barrels of oil, making it the largest in North America. The problem then became how to develop the oil field and ship the product to the U.S. markets. No pipeline had been constructed yet. Several solutions were offered. Boeing proposed a series of tanker aircraft to transport the oil from the field. Another group proposed extending the railroad to Prudhoe Bay. A company called Alaska Pipeline Service Company started construction of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline in March 1975 and finished in June 1977, running from the oil field in Prudhoe Bay to the marine terminal in Valdez, where it would be loaded on boats and transferred to the mainland U.S. The first oil flow into the pipeline was June 20th, 1977, and the first tanker boat departed from Valdez on August 1st, 1977. The cost to build the pipeline was $8 billion back in 1977. That was the largest privately funded construction project ever at the time. That $8 million would be equal to roughly $70 million today. So I've told you a quick rundown of the history of the pipeline, how it came to be, and how much it costs. Now I want to go over some of the major environmental effects the pipeline has had over the years. In 1989, a tanker carrying 53 million gallons of oil struck a reef out of Valdez and spilt an estimated 10.8 million gallons of thick, toxic crude oil into the water. Storms and currents then carried it over 1,300 miles of shoreline. 25 years later, it was reported that the oil was still not completely cleaned up. In 2006, there was an oil spill at the Prudhoe Bay oil field. It is known as the Prudhoe Bay oil spill. Initial estimates of that 5-day leak were said to be 267,000 gallons spilt over 1.9 acres, making it the largest oil spill on Purdue oil field to date. According to an article in the National Geographic, it was lucky that the spill happened in the wintertime because the local caribou were not in the area. And the company was able to clean up the spill before they migrated back to the area in the summer. There have been some pretty big disasters linked to the pipeline. Now I'll go over what Alaska Pipeline Service Company is doing to help prevent those things from happening again. The Alaska Pipeline Service Company proactively works to minimize environmental impacts through its investment in its environmental program. Alaska's environmental program is infused throughout the company's operation and consists of fish and wildlife protection, employee environmental direction, and leadership and company compliance with environmental laws and regulations. Excuse me. Their environmental team includes subject matter experts. They work with the local companies, government, and also work closely with the maintenance and other project teams to coordinate area-specific programs for the company. The Alaska Pipeline Service Company has a website where anyone can go to see news about the pipeline, along with safety, culture, and environment. I found it by Googling the company's name. And as you can see, I have it pulled up on my screen right here. In conclusion, I've told you some about when and why the pipeline was built, along with how much it costs, about the largest disasters linked with the pipeline, and I also went over what is being done to lessen the impact that the pipeline has on the local environment, and where you can go to find any further information about the Alaska Pipeline Service Company. Thank you for your attention.